The story, The Last Leaf, is written by O. Henry. Let us go through the introduction. O. Henry is the pen name of William Sidney Porter, an American writer of eminence. His lifespan is from 1862 to 1910. He began writing while in prison on a charge of embezzlement. He wrote a large number of short stories, around 600 short stories, many of which have New York as their setting. His stories deal with all sorts and conditions of men and women and are characterized by ingenuity of plot, incisive brevity, surprise ending, irony, humor, and what is more, human interest. Each story was very short, simply told, and usually had an unexpected ending. The best and the most widely read of all the master's writings include The Gift of the Maggie, An Unfinished Story, The Furnished Room, and The Last Leaf. These are the creations. The Last Leaf, mainly our lesson is The Last Leaf, is the story primarily of old Berman. Berman is the failed artist who hoped to paint his masterpiece one day. Sue and Johnsy were two young artists. Berman saved the life of Johnsy by drawing his masterpiece, and that is the masterpiece is an ivy leaf, and in doing so sacrificed his own life. So let us go through the story in brief. It is not the line by line, but we have to understand certain things. That is, it is surrounded by Old Greenwich Village. The Old Greenwich Village in a little district west of Washington Square attracted art people, especially the young, from far and near on account of its centuries old buildings and cheap lodgings. Most of them were up and coming artists who did such works as drawing pictures for magazines, hoping that one day they would draw their masterpieces. The place was so crammed with such people that it became almost a colony. Sue and Johnsy were two young women artists. They stayed together at the top of an old three-storied brick house. Sue drew sketches for magazine stories, while Johnsy hoped to paint the Bay of Naples one day. Old Berman was a failed painter, as we already stated, who lived on the ground floor on the same building. Though he had not painted for many years, he hoped to paint his masterpiece before long. He earned his living by serving as a model to the young artists of the colony. Though given to excessive drinking, he acted as a watchdog and protector to Sue and Johnsy. In the winter of that year, pneumonia broke out in the village, killing a number of people. Johnsy contracted the disease and she lost all hope of survival. The doctor, who knew that the psychology of the patient was important for his recovery, gave her only one chance in 10, 1 by 10, the only chance to survive. Sue noticed her friend all the time looking out of the window and counting the leaves that remained on an old ivy vine, which climbed halfway up the brick wall of the house outside. Being winter, the leaves were falling fast and only a very few of them were left. Pneumonia killed Johnsy's desire to live, and it induced in her morbid fancies. She told Sue that she would die when she last leaf fell. Sue's efforts to instill self-confidence in her were all in vain. She, however, closed the window, asking Johnsy to get some sleep. She then bent down to call old Berman to her room to be her model for the old hermit miner. She told Berman the strange fancies of Johnsy. Berman took pity of the sick girl and went upstairs to pause for Sue. They found Johnsy asleep. When they looked out of the window, the last leaf had fallen. Berman went back after pausing for Sue. That night was cold and windy. There was persistent rain and snowfall. The next morning, Johnsy was surprised to find that there still remained the last leaf on the vine, despite the rain and wind. She, however, expected the leaf to fall in a short while. But throughout the day, the leaf clung to its stem against the wall, as if refusing to fall. That night was stormier and rain heavier. But the next morning, Johnsy found to her utter surprise that the ivy leaf was still there, hanging bravely from the bare branch. A change came over Johnsy. She felt that the last leaf clinging to the plant reminded her of her wickedness. It was a sin, she thought, to want to die. She wanted to live and called for a little broth and some milk. Her zest for life returned, and she demanded a hand mirror to be brought to enable her to see her face. Her recovery was almost remarkable. She even hoped to paint the Bay of Naples someday. The doctor who called on her that afternoon was very happy at her remarkable progress and gave even chances for her recovery. He also informed them of what had befallen old Berman. He had contracted pneumonia and was on the verge of death. Being weak and old, his case was beyond hope. The next day, the doctor found Sue still better. She was evidently out of danger. All that was needed for her was good diet and proper care. Sue later told Johnsy of the death of old Berman. She disclosed the awful truth that Berman had got pneumonia while painting the ivy leaf on the wall on the night the leaf had fallen. The leaf which Johnsy found clinging to the branch was in fact not a real leaf, but the one painted by Berman at night. He had willingly risked his life so that Johnsy could live. The painting of the ivy leaf thus became his masterpiece, not merely because it looked like a real leaf, but also because it saved the life of an young artist while it cost the death of the painter himself. The moral of the story in the last leaf, written by O. Henry, is that even if we have to face bad things, we should always help our loved ones. Making sacrifices for people we love and giving them hope is part of the lesson. So, love, determination, courage, confidence are the main themes, and a helpful mind are the main themes of this chapter. The main theme in the story is selflessness and sacrifice. When Berman finds out that Johnsy is convinced that she will die once the last ivy leaf falls, Berman selflessly gets out in the rain and snow in the middle of the night to paint an ivy leaf on the brick wall. This shows his self-sacrificing, kind, and noble nature. The story also conveys the theme of pessimism and optimism. Due to her illness, Johnsy leads her life as a pessimist in the story. Doctor in the story is a very optimistic person. But the character of Dr. O. Henry conveys the message that one never let go for hope and optimist approach in life. It is our state of mind which can bring worse or better for us in our lives. The last leaf shows the theme of friendship. Friendship is such a relationship that is completed with the ties of sacrifice, sincerity, love, loyalties, etc. And also, this perfectly shown by the character of Sue and John C.